Back to Battle House After Hours. My name is Baylor. I am your host. Whether you're listening on your drive, working out, or just killing time, I appreciate you for being here. This podcast is where we talk about what really goes on behind the scenes, not just the games, not just the fun parts people see on social media, but the leadership, the lessons, the failure, and the mindset behind building something meaningful. I'm currently general manager at Battle House Laser Tag, and my goal with this show is to document the journey, the wins, the struggle, the growth, and everything in between. This episode is just me, no guests, no distractions, just real talk about what drives me, what we're building, and the core value that shaped everything we do, especially customer experience. So I wanted to open up with a little bit of my perspective on things. One thing you don't realize is how much responsibility comes with leadership, especially at a young age, only being 18 years old. There's no manual, no step-by-step guide. You just kind of get thrown in there and kind of hope for the best. There are definitely days where I had to figure things out completely on my own as we go. I think my assistant manager, Michael, definitely remembers some of those days. We've had staffing issues, customer problems, equipment failures, times where I just did not feel confident in making decisions. But that is the stuff that shapes you into a good leader, is how you decide to react to those situations. You can either react proactively, try to find a solution, or react in a negative way and just sit there, bottle up, and not be able to get anything done. They teach you discipline, they teach you ownership, they teach you leadership isn't about authority, it's about responsibility. I think that's the biggest lessons that I've been able to pull away from starting this position at Battle House. It's been a truly awesome thing for my personal growth by far. I think a lot of the managers in our business, no matter which location they're at, would kind of agree with that. And no matter where they're at in their stages of life, not everybody's as young as me, but I think there's a lot of growth from working in this company. I want to open up our first big talking point today by going over one of our biggest core values, customer experience. Customer experience is not just something we talk about, it is the foundation of everything we do. People don't remember the price. They remember how you made them feel. They remember how you treated them. They remember if you cared. Customer experience starts the moment someone walks in the door. Actually, it starts well before that. It starts when they see your brand online, when they read your reviews, and when they hear about you from a friend. Your reviews, word of mouth, especially in our area up here in Wake Forest, is by far the biggest thing. And how we get people to come in here. We have had people book private events, birthday parties, just because their friend came out here and told them it was a super fun thing. So having a good kind of word of mouth around your local business is very, very important and a great tool to make sure that you can have. Every interaction matters, and it's important to remember that. Every single person who comes in here, they're not just a customer, they're also a person. Giving them a good, positive interaction is definitely going to help boost their day, have them have a more positive aspect of what your business looks like. The way we greet someone, the way we explain the games, the energy we bring, and the way we solve problems is a big thing of how we handle customer experience here. When something goes wrong, that's the real test. Anyone can deliver a good experience when things go perfectly. But when something breaks, when there's a delay, when someone is frustrated, that's when real leadership shows. And let me just say, there have been plenty of times that things have gone wrong, and that in the moment I was thinking to myself, how am I going to handle this? But if you just sit there and really try to focus in, you're going to be good. We don't just run from those moments, we step into them here, because those moments are the ones that turn customers into lifetime supporters. If you have a lot of stuff going wrong, but you're doing a lot to try to make it right, and the customers see that, they're going to be happy. They're going to be more willing to come back despite there being something negative going on. For us, for example, we're a very high volume place, so our equipment is bound to break every once in a while. And I remember I had this one lady who had 3 different guns in an hour-long game who they all broke, but we were swapping her out, trying to make sure she had a good time, gave her a free upgrade card for the next time she came out, and she still ended up having a blast, and she even told us that she had a lot of fun. So Really just trying to make sure that even though there's something negative happening, they still have a good positive experience, and trying to make sure that the next time they come out, remember who they are and try to make sure they have a better experience during their next time. Our whole goal here at Battle House is to give people a memory. We promise the most fun ever. I like to say that we definitely are good at giving people the most fun ever. That is the number one thing I hear at the end of games is, oh, this was so much fun. I would definitely do this again. We definitely need to come back out here. Customer experience is about caring when no one is watching as well. It's about the extra things that most people won't do. Like for us, for example, at my location, I hand out stickers to kids. We have a ton of ducks behind the counter. We have a duck machine. Anytime a little kid doesn't win the duck after they spend like some money in there, I'll give them a duck because they're upset. Things like that, trying to make sure that everybody who walks in, even the people that are too young, too old, or just don't want to play, are still having a good positive experience when they're in the building. That's just going to create an even better word of mouth and reputation for your business. Leadership is not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being the most consistent. Doing the right thing even when you're tired. Showing up even when it's hard. And setting the standard. Because people follow actions, not words. If you want a strong team, you have to be strong first. If you want excellent, you have to demonstrate the excellent. Everything starts with you as the leader. I think that that's a really important manager task and like skill that people have to learn is, as a manager, people on your team are watching you to see what you're doing. If you're slacking off, not getting work done, they're going to expect that they're going to be able to do that. If you're just not giving a care in the world, they're not going to give a care in the world. But if you show up as a manager every day, you bring a positive experience, everybody has a good time, it's bound to also reflect to the customers, and every single person who walks in this building, customers, staff, are going to have a good time, and it all starts with you as the manager. We are going to go ahead and get into our next segment now. I kind of want to take this time to talk about one of my favorite games that we don't really do too much at this location anymore, just because it takes a really specific type of group to be able to run that game. That game is Sabotage, and how that game works is it takes our briefcase bomb. There's two teams that have two different target locations. Before the game gets started, one of the referees goes and hides the bomb somewhere in the arena. The teams have to try to find where the bomb is hidden, take the bomb to their extraction point, plant the bomb, and have the bomb explode. And if you're the team that doesn't plant the bomb, you have to try to disarm the bomb. I think the reason why I like that game so much is the bomb is such a cool high-tech prop. You know, it has the ability to actually be armed. There's a timer on there. It makes a sound when it's armed, like it's going to explode. Timer's counting down. And then when you're trying to disarm the bomb, there's actually two ways you can disarm the bomb. They design wires on the side of it. It's really cool. You press a button, click the wire. You can only use it once per round. It either disarms the bomb or it's going to speed up the timer. There's 4 buttons. Only one cuts the wire, and it's random every single time. Or you can hold down a button on there for 7 seconds. A code pops up onto the screen. You type the code into the keypad, and you disarm the bomb. It's a very fun and engaging game. I think it's one of the most tactical ones we have, because you really have to have a good team, be able to plan out. One person go for the bomb, one person go for the extraction point, clear it out. One person try to make sure the other team isn't going to get their stuff. So you got to have a lot of good teamwork and communication in that game for your team to find any success for it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. I tend to like the more complex games when I'm playing, just because I feel like some of the more basic ones, I like having a lot of things to do. That's why when I design games, I do a lot of the multiple prop ones, like data extraction is one I did, where there's a money bag hidden in the arena, and one team has to try to find a money bag, get it to the scientist, who is one of the referees. The scientist has a suitcase with them or a briefcase, one of the two, and they give it to the team with the money bag. The team then has to take that briefcase to an extraction point and extract it in there, and one team has to try to prevent that sequence from happening. So that's a pretty fun one that I created when our domination cubes broke, and I was like, oh, how do I make a game that's going to be a little bit longer? because our cube games are definitely the longest games we have. They take up the most chunk of time, but they also seem to be everybody's favorite games. We have tons and tons of different versions of cube games. Our basic ones, we've got like Domination, King of the Hill, Hardpoint's become pretty basic at the Wake Forest location. I'm not too sure about the other locations, but then we've got awesome ones like Rush, Triangle of Death, all those things that we don't really play as much. At one point, we had a game created up here by one of our staff members. It's called like Rotating Domination, I do believe. And the cube would like move around the arena consistently. And then after it hit a certain point on the counter, it would start circling closer into the arena. And then eventually, once it hit a certain point, it would stay in the center of the arena just still up until a team captured it. That was a pretty fun one. I was actually quite a bit of the customers' favorites for a long time at this location as well. We don't really do that one much anymore, but we had these two regulars who really, really, really loved to play that game. And every single time they came in and they saw Simon's the one who made that game. He's one of my referees. Every time they would see Simon was working, they would ask him to run that game for him just because it was really fun, I will say. That was definitely one of the best games that he had made, in my opinion. He's made quite a few games as well. Vision and future of Battle House is kind of the next thing I want to hit. We're building something bigger than just laser tag. We're building a culture, a place where people can escape stress, where they can compete, where they can create memories. And this podcast is just a part of the journey. This is just the beginning. There's much more coming, more growth, more stories. I think that 10 years ago, if we had sat down with the people that started Battle House and I had asked them if they wanted a podcast to go along with it, they probably would say no. But, podcasts are the new things. Isn't it interesting how times have changed? But there's definitely a huge reason why I want to do this. Is just a better way for us as our staff to be able to connect with y'all as the customers, so you can feel like you're more connected and involved with what goes on daily at Battle House, because at the end of the day, it's more than just laser tag. We're helping build something for everybody in our community. We're big on working with the community, local schools, local sports teams. We do a ton of spirit nights, all that fun stuff. So I think the biggest thing Battle House brings is a good sense of community to wherever it is. I know at our Wake Forest location, everybody in Wake Forest and the cities around it love us. I mean, I go out into public. This actually happened a few days ago. I was in Walmart and some kid came up to me and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you're the laser tag guy." And that's happened so many times. And I think that's just really fun to be able to go out and just have someone really recognize multiple times that you work at a place. I think that speaks a lot to how positive and good our business is and what we bring to this community around here. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. This podcast is about growth, leadership, experience, and the journey. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone, and remember, everything you want is on the other side of discipline. This has been Battle House After Hours, and we're just getting started.